And a pleasant good afternoon to you once again. This is John Verlin with On Demand Advertising Solutions, another digital marketing update. I want to answer an email I got recently. Rebecca, and she is in Leawood, Kansas, and comments, been listening to your podcast. I like the variety of topics you've covered. However, I'm still confounded by creating content on a blog and limited on budget. I don't have a lot of content to draw from and wanted your perspective on what I could do to make it simpler for me, because I agree with your thesis on providing content for prospects and customers. Well, Rebecca, let me get into, I'm going to give you 6 things today, six ways that content can, I call it, explode your brand. And we've talked in the past on a number of podcasts about why this is important, to build content. A lot of businesses don't, probably for similar reasons of time, money, they don't know where to get it. But let me kind of go into a few things here about creating content. And it could be something as simple as commenting on something somebody said in your industry. Maybe you found a blog post you thought was interesting. I've done a number of my podcasts commenting on other people's comments or original content or whatever, and that's acceptable. Just give them credit. Where you got it, who wrote it, that kind of thing. Because everybody steals everybody's, I shouldn't say steals, but borrows from other content. That's nothing new. Matter of fact, recently I read a blurb on, I think it was Yahoo, that Quincy Jones kind of said some stuff about Michael Jackson, that he stole the riff to Billie Jean from Donna Summers' Independence Day. And I know I read years ago that Paul McCartney, one of his hits, was actually, he was being sued by a group in the late 50s that recorded a song with the same riff that they created and that Paul took, so to speak. Paul's recollection, according to the article, was it might have been in his subconscious, the tune. So this stuff happens a lot with people who write scripts, music, lyrics. Sometimes they get away with it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're totally unaware. So commenting or giving your view or take on other people's content can be one way to get this. This doesn't have to be extremely hard, because if you've surveyed your customers, which is, I recommend that to be sort of a first step, just to get the latest on what their thoughts are about your products or services. What can you do to improve? Any questions they have about it? Any suggestions, that kind of thing. That's a starting point, because your customers and their experience are the most important thing. Okay. Secondly, raising common issues from this that your customers might have and answer those issues indicates that it, first of all, shows your expertise in solving their problems, because you obviously know something they don't, and that's why they're searching your blog or your website to learn more about what they can do. And keep in mind, Rebecca, the content can be written like a blog post. You can record it like I'm doing on a podcast. You can blend it kind of like I'm doing and make a video out of it, which you can place on YouTube, which will get you ranked higher in the Google search engine, because Google owns YouTube. You can, there are people on their cell phones, in the car. Now, I'm not suggesting you do this while you're driving, although people have. Do a little video of you talking, again, depending on the voice, quote unquote, you want to project to your audience. Maybe it's appropriate that I know one guy, he's out in the field or his backyard all the time, shooting a little video of him talking, and his hair's blowing, and that apparently is his way of conveying his authenticity and his ideas in a unique setting. It's not just in an office and boring. And recently, of course, you probably have read about this, and this was, I record these a month or so out, and so it was a month or more ago, but when Elon Musk shot off the Falcon Heavy rocket, put his Tesla into space, and had a great videos and photos of that mannequin in the car flying by Earth, and what a great publicity stunt, I guess you could call it, to excite people about space, excite them about the brand. And he did it in a really unique and unusual setting. So he took advantage of a lot of things there, which give him hats off to him. What a great way to get tons of publicity in a really unique situation to bolster his brand. But at any rate, you can do a simple form. It could be something as simple as, doesn't have to be 1,000-page thesis. It could be 300, 400, 500 words, maybe 6 paragraphs, even whatever you want it to be on your blog. Just do it on a regular basis, because that will be searched by Google on a regular basis. And the more you offer of quality and consistency, the higher you'll get ranked. But more importantly, besides Google, your customers and your prospects will see you in a different light because of this regular, ongoing exchange of information and ideas that you're providing them. And your answers and advice, by doing this on a regular basis and promoting it, will demonstrate your brand relevance and currency. And all that means is that you're current, you're on top of things. You're perceived as being the source, the place to go to learn about your business. Now think about how that ties into what your competitors are doing or not doing. For example, I'm just going to give you a really quickie here because I've seen this a bunch. If you look at typical banks, now they're regulated and they have to be careful what they put out there, but typically, to protect themselves, they just put out real generic, I shouldn't say to protect, just in general, to comply with compliance issues. They'll put out real general, happy Monday, hope you have a great day. It has to be kind of generic and all that sort of thing. But what if they got a little creative, if they could, and do something, a message from employees on a little video every other day or once a week. Here's Sharon in our customer service department. Hi, I'm Sharon Bradshaw. I've been with the bank 10 years, and I love working with her. Doesn't have to be anything that's detailed enough to face compliance issues. It could be general statements done in a creative way. Statements about the belief the bank has, its goals, its customer service, all those sort of things. So this doesn't have to be rocket science you're sharing. It could be just showing you and your employees or your business in a little bit different light on a regular basis. Okay? It could feature you, your employees. It could feature your customers or industry guests. You could feature them in blog posts, and it will add credibility to your customers and your prospects, because if you're using, here's Joe, he's a really good customer of my business, and Joe, you like a lot of our products. Tell everybody why. And so here he is giving a great testimonial, and then other customers see that, and they think, well, guy, if Joe likes it so much, well, of course, you're going to give a copy of that post, whether it's written or link to it, or an MP3 file if it's recorded, or video clip, link to it on YouTube or something, and he's going to put it on his website and promote it because he's being featured on your blog. You tie in your customers, your industry, people in your industry you can interview, your employees, get all that involved because that shows relevance. That will enhance your brand. People see that and they're going to think of you when they think of your category. Boy, that lady features a lot of cool people. This is really neat. And she might even snag a big name, a big fish out there in your industry. That's even better. Keep in mind, too, Rebecca, content is at the heart and soul of your online experience, and it can be promoted and shared. Because when you think about your shopping experience, when you're getting ready to do business with somebody, whoever it is, a lot of people start with searching. If they're going to buy local, they still may search, but now there's more and more offerings online, and that may take business away. So that's why this is so critical, because this is your online presence. When they search, when they make a decision to follow up and look into what you're doing, you got to do everything you can to protect your value, your brand, the currency online. Recently, a pharmacy where I live is actually next week, they're getting ready to close after 21 years because a CVS has just been built down the street. And on the opposite side, a Walgreens has been there a number of years. So this local pharmacy that has a soda fountain, feels kind of like an old-time drugstore, they're forced to close. That's at least as I understand it. I mean, there may be other reasons. But that's the mom and pops, unfortunately, being pushed out by larger chains coming into markets. So that's why small businesses, while there is growth opportunities out there, there's also the chance of being pushed out by the Amazons and the big players. So got to do everything you can to protect it. In original content, and I've talked about in the past my tie-ins with a rock and roll band called Shooting Star that had a number of albums out. Original content may be the hit song that will cause others, your prospects, for example, to check out the whole album or your website or blog, so to speak. In other words, you may have, not all the posts you're going to do are going to be great. Some may be boring, whatever, but just keep doing it. Just do it, as Nike says. Because you may have one hit that suddenly is shared over and over and over, and suddenly your name again is getting out, and that's the whole purpose of this. Not every post is going to be a hit, but you don't need a ton. You just need a few. But more importantly, the people who do go to your website and do follow up, that's the brand image and the online experience for them at first blush within 30 seconds after arriving. That's what's really critical. Probably the most important part of your branding or marketing platform is that first experience online. From there, it ties into the quality of your product, your offer, your value you offer, their online experience, and then if they go to a store, the store experience. John Verlin 12 at AT&T.net's my email. Rebecca, thank you for that. I hope I answered that in depth enough, but just do it. Get started and just do it on a regular basis. If you can't do it yourself, get an employee perhaps, hire someone, something to get that ball rolling, because once you start doing this, it's addictive. It's fun. You'll enjoy it, believe me. Online is ondemandaDvertisingSolutions.com. Love to hear from you. We'll talk to you again soon.